The narrow backstage hallway hums with nervous energy. Contestants bustle about, adjusting their outfits, tuning instruments, exchanging fake smiles that hide deep insecurity. Amid the chaos stands a young boy, small in stature but with eyes that hold worlds of dreams. His guitar is old, its body worn and scratched, the varnish chipped away from years of practice. It's not fancy like the others, but it's his treasure, his only companion through countless nights of silent rehearsal. He grips the guitar tightly, knuckles pale. His palms glisten with sweat, and the strap keeps slipping from his thin shoulder. A soft tremor runs through his hands, and he breathes in deeply, trying to steady himself. Behind him, two older contestants laugh quietly, throwing smug glances. He pretends not to hear them. Instead, he looks toward the thick velvet curtain separating him from the glowing stage. Light seeps through its edges like golden mist, casting a halo across his anxious face. The muffled sound of the host's voice echoes faintly from the other side. The crowd laughs, applauds, unaware of the storm inside the boy's chest. His heart pounds, thud, 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 faster than any rhythm he's ever played. He takes a shaky breath, remembering his mother's words that morning, "Just play with your heart, son. Don't worry about winning." He closes his eyes for a moment. The laughter, the whispers, the chaos, all melt away. All that remains is the sound of his own heartbeat and the weight of his guitar against his chest. He adjusts his strap the moment he steps onto the stage, the world seems to stop breathing. The blinding lights strike his face, forcing him to squint for a second before his eyes adjust. He stands alone at the center of the vast stage, so small against the towering backdrop, so fragile under the gaze of hundreds of strangers. The murmurs in the audience fade into expectant silence. Somewhere in the front row, a judge raises an eyebrow, another tilts her head, intrigued by the sight of a boy holding an old, battered guitar. For a heartbeat, he freezes. His throat tightens, and his fingers hover over the strings. He can feel the weight of every eye on him, waiting, judging. Then, almost instinctively, he closes his eyes. The stage, the lights, the crowd, all dissolve into darkness. There is only him and his guitar. He strums the first chord of Hotel California. It's not perfect, one string buzzes slightly, but the sound carries something rare, truth. The raw, trembling note hangs in the air like a whisper from a dream. Another chord follows, and another. Each vibration grows steadier, braver, until the melody begins to breathe on its own. The judges exchange glances, no longer skeptical but quietly moved. The audience blurs into as the boy's voice rises, soft and trembling, the melody of Hotel California wraps around the room like a spell. The crowd leans in, drawn by the raw honesty in his tone. His fingers glide over the strings with quiet confidence now, not perfect but full of feeling. Every note seems to carry a story, every lyric a memory. Then, as if the music itself opens a door, the scene begins to blur at the edges. The stage lights fade into the warm, golden glow of a small, cramped room. Peeling wallpaper curls at the corners, and a single bulb flickers weakly above. A younger version of the boy sits cross-legged on the floor, his late father beside him, guiding his small hands over the strings. The man's smile is gentle, proud. His rough voice echoes faintly over the present melody, "Never stop playing, son. No matter what." The camera shifts, close up on the father's hands, strong but tender, then back to the boy's trembling fingers in the present. The tones alternate, warm for memory, cool for reality, two timelines intertwined through sound and emotion. In another flash, his mother appears in the doorway of that same small room. Her eyes glisten as she listens quietly, a hand pressed over her heart. The younger boy glances up, smiling, unaware that these moments will one day become his strength. Back in the present, the older boy sings the next line with his eyes closed, a single tear slipping down his cheek. The past and present merge in perfect harmony, grief and love fused into music. The audience can't see his memories, but they can feel them in every trembling note that fills the silent hall. The last chord rings out like a whisper of goodbye, trembling gently in the air before fading into stillness. The boy's fingers remain frozen on the strings, his eyes still closed, as if he's afraid that opening them will break the fragile magic he's created. The entire hall holds its breath. Not a murmur, not a cough, only the faint vibration of the final note, echoing softly through the vast space. He exhales slowly, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Sweat glistens on his brow, his heart still racing from the emotion he poured into the song. He doesn't dare look up. For a moment, he thinks he's failed, that the silence means rejection. But then, something shifts. The camera pulls back to reveal the judges' faces. One judge sits completely still, her hand covering her mouth, tears brimming in her eyes. Another blinks rapidly, clearly trying to hold back emotion, his usual stern expression softened by awe. The third judge leans forward, elbows on the table, eyes wide and glassy, whispering something only the camera can catch. Unbelievable. The audience remains frozen, caught between breath and applause. Every person in the hall feels it, that electric stillness when something genuine touches the soul. The boy slowly opens his eyes. He doesn't see the lights or the cameras anymore, only the sea of faces shimmering in quiet wonder. The silence lasts a few seconds longer, sacred, heavy, unforgettable. Then, just as the faint echo of the final string dies, the first clap breaks through, followed by another, and another. The hall erupts in applause, but for that fleeting heartbeat before the sound returns, the world belonged to him, and his song. For a heartbeat, the boy stands motionless, still lost in the echo of his final chord. Then, like a wave crashing through the stillness, the hall erupts. Applause bursts forth, loud and uncontrollable. The audience rises to their feet, cheering, crying, shouting his name. The roar of their admiration fills the air, swelling until it feels like the entire world is clapping just for him. The lights shift from cold white to a warm, golden glow, bathing the stage in radiance. The camera begins to circle him in a slow, sweeping 360 degrees motion, the world spinning around him while he remains at its center, still stunned, still trembling. His small hands clutch the old guitar against his chest, the same one that carried his pain, his love, his memories. For so long, he had played in shadows, now he stands under a light so bright it feels unreal. Tears glimmer on his lashes, one finally slipping down his cheek. It glides past his trembling lips, which curve into a shy, disbelieving smile. The audience's applause grows louder, some people whistling, others shouting words he can't even hear over the thunderous noise. But within that chaos, the sound of his guitar returns, soft, distant, like a memory. The faint reprise of Hotel California plays through the speakers, blending perfectly with the cheers. The camera zooms closer, his tearful smile fills the frame, a portrait of pure, humble triumph. For the first time, he feels what his father once promised, that music could speak louder than words, and hearts could hear it. In that golden light, amid applause and tears, the boy's dream is no longer just a dream, it has come alive, born from pain, carried by courage, and fulfilled through pure heart.